Hello, and welcome back to Why House Church. My name is Collin Fosnall, and with me here is Luke Franson.
That was crazy. I was wondering if you were going to do it or not because you're sitting in that chair.
I got to.
We just played a little bit of chicken there. That was good.
I enjoyed it.
What are we talking about today, Colin?
We are talking about the nerves and maybe some confusion on joining a house church or maybe starting your own house church.
Interesting. Nerves and confusion.
Yeah, that's what production team told me to say.
And it's out. Colin doesn't have any original thoughts. It's from the production team right there. Colin, who's the production team? Because I'm pretty sure it's just us and Kylie.
That is correct. It is Kylie, your wife. No, I'm just kidding. She did write an excellent little note for me.
She makes very helpful notes. They're all on a whiteboard right there.
Yes. However, it is about joining. The episode is about joining and or starting your own house church and kind of like what that might look like, how we go about that.
Because some people do get nervous about it.
100% they do.
I mean, it's a little bit uncomfortable. It's there's not, well,
they don't know what to expect.
To a degree, I feel like that sort of discomfort is fair, particularly when trying to join our house church, because we don't have a process.
No, we don't.
Which seems a little bit weird because we decided to make an episode about joining a house church.
That we did, yeah.
And there's no formal onboarding process.
We are a little weird sometimes.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. I'll do my best. There are some house churches that do have a formal process. They do have a standardized kind of onboarding, if you will, process for newer members.
Onboarding?
Yeah, where they have a set standard every single time.
Did I say that already? I used the word onboarding first. Dang, I'm a nerd.
You said it. However, we do not. Ours looks different. It can be different based on who you are, how much experience you have with the faith, also your relationship with members of the church or not. You know
That's very true, because we've had a large degree of variability in relationship with the members that have joined.
Correct.
Now, other churches, they've sort of formalized this process where you come and you visit for a few months and then, or a few weeks, and then you have the sort of define the relationship conversation.
Exactly. Yeah.
You look at each other and you say, what are we?
Let's define this relationship. Yes, absolutely. I would say we do have that too, wouldn't you say, at times?
Absolutely. I think that's the most consistent thing in our church is our define the relationship conversation. And I think that's the most important thing to think about when joining a house church is what are you committing to?
Yeah.
I think a few highlights that I want to hit that I was told by the production team to hit. I'm just kidding. These are my thoughts. I consider myself part of the production team, but I am going to use that as a scapegoat from now on. A few highlights that I want to hit is, number one, you are committing to the people, not necessarily the time and the space.
Yeah.
You know, because like we recently had a guy join, and he's like, hey guys, I'm going to have to miss like a lot of Sundays. And we were like, you know what? We've got some people who work weird hours. We've got a weirdly high number of medical professionals in the church.
More than 50%.
No. Dude, we have almost 20 people in the church.
Is
that real? Can we get production team on that?
I think we should count them up.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
We'll figure it out.
We've got some people. Production team will figure this out.
Yeah.
It's just Kylie.
Thank you, Kylie.
So we've got some people who work weird schedules, and it's like you're not really committing to attending on Sundays. You're committing to relationship with these people.
Yeah.
Like you're committing to relationship with the church. And that doesn't mean like you're committing to submission. You're not committing to believing everything I say as overseer. You're not committing to tithing to me 3 times a month. Although, no, I'm just kidding.
Maybe would like that, but no.
No. I was just kidding. You're committing, I think, and this is the way that I talk about it with new members, is you're committing to not quitting.
Yes.
You're committing to not giving up and walking away. Like, this commitment is one, if we disagree, we're going to figure it out. And with all humility and grace, I will understand that I actually do not have all the answers to life I just don't.
Yeah.
And so with that humility, you might think you have all the answers to life. And sometimes when people get excited about church, that tends to happen. There's this period of
New excitement, zealousness, maybe you could even call it, or just
Yeah, sure.
passion. I don't know.
And when we're really sure about things, there's a need for humility there that is sometimes difficult to get over that hump.
Yeah.
But you're committing to talking it out.
Mm-hmm.
You're committing to accepting the shortcomings of our human nature.
For sure.
And you are committing to relationship with the people, and that's going to be messy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we say that from the outright. The house church thing, the church is the people, and people are messy.
It's unfair to expect it to be perfect or clean all the time.
And it's really not going to be. And putting cultures and processes in place to make it so we can sort of protect the church from itself,
mm-hmm.
and protect people from what the church can do when it's potentially unhealthy.
Yeah.
Is important. But like, your role as a church member is not to believe a certain thing, to attend a certain amount of times, to make a certain amount of disciples. Although I should clarify the believe a certain thing, because that's like the second most important thing that I want to talk about is what we talk about when we talk about like doctrinal purity within the church, because we're a Christian church.
We are, but that doesn't necessarily mean we agree on everything.
Yes.
Theologically wise, yeah.
Theologically wise, yes. However, we still would say that we hold to like a historical orthodox understanding of Christianity.
Correct, yeah.
We will often bring up, if you have a new interpretation of the scriptures that nobody else has come up with in the last 2,000 years, you're wrong. Like, there is a 99.9% chance that you're wrong.
Might need to reflect and figure out what's going on a little bit there.
This is a historic faith. We've been here for a long time. This is not something new. You are not going to come up with new things, most likely. Especially if in studying the Bible for 5 years, you have somehow stumbled upon some truth that people have missed for the last 2,000.
Wow.
So, but within historical Orthodox Christianity, there are debatable interpretations. A really good example of this, I think, personally, is complementarianism and egalitarianism.
That's a good one.
This sort of women in leadership role. What role are women allowed or designed to play within the church?
It's a great question, yeah.
And we might believe something, and for example, like another church might believe something else. But we can still link arms with them and say, like, we hold to the historic Christian faith. With the limited knowledge that we have, we've arrived at different conclusions.
Correct.
And, like, we're super straightforward with them.
They know where we stand, and we know where they're at.
Like, we think you're wrong.
Yep.
But you know what? That's not what I would consider, like, an essential, you are not a Christian doctrine.
We still call one another brothers and sisters in Christ. We still help one another out. We've even worshiped with that church. You know what I mean? We spend time together as Christians, you know what I mean? And committed to the people as well. Not just our belief, but the people, you know what I mean? So,
right. No, that also doesn't mean, like, we'll bring it up too.
Oh, we'll talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like, approaching those conversations where you disagree with humility, you know, because, like, this is something that people have debated.
For generations.
Yes. And approaching that with some humility and saying, like, I think you're wrong because of this. It allows you to, I think, cultivate more wisdom when you're talking about a subject.
Correct.
And also work on your listening skills with people you disagree with.
Yeah.
And if I'm just honest, like, the way to make a church work is to work on listening skills.
That is a good point. Yeah. That's a very good point. Yes.
Especially when you take, what are we at, 20 people?
Close to it, yeah.
Do we get a number on health professionals, actually?
Oh, I was way off.
Yes, they count. So 33%. Yeah, you were wrong. I was right.
Way off. Hand raised. My bad.
That's
on the recording.
Does that mean I was right?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. I really didn't give a number. You were the man in the arena. I was the critic.
It's a good poem. Or
It's
it was
not
a
a poem.
speech.
It's a speech.
Speech
It's
by
it's an
Theodore
opening of the
Roosevelt.
Speech. Yes.
Bang.
Yeah.
Got
Man
it.
in the arena.
Teddy.
I've got that framed in the gym. If you're wondering why that's something that's just in the church mental space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we've got about 20 people,
20-ish. Yep.
20-ish people. Getting them all to work alongside relationally is a lot of listening skills. It's messy, but it's been very different for each recently joined member.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because we had one woman who was a Christian for most of her life.
Correct.
And she got to the house church and she was like, "Oh, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do this."
Jumped in right away. Yeah.
And we had that sort of define the relationship conversation. The other thing that Kylie told you to say was yes on both sides.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
So you should say that.
So when we're having these conversations, with a new member who's looking to join, it's important for both sides to say yes and come to that understanding of like, yes, we want to do this together and commit to one another. And I think that is important because that leads into what Luke was talking about. When you commit to one another and not quitting, you're not going to give up on one another.
It's a bi-directional.
Yeah, it's part of that conversation when we say yes and yes to one another. That commitment. I think we've compared it even to like covenant. You know what I mean? Of like joining together in marriage, if you will. But
getting a note from the production team, bi-directional was a nerd word. I don't really understand how, because bi is just the root for two.
Directional.
Yeah.
She said it was 5 syllables, and you're a nerd. So
yeah, I'm getting word from the production team that you're the nerd.
Just back and forth. But yeah, that is one thing that is important when we're having these conversations, whether all different types of backgrounds of coming to it. We want to make sure we both land on a yes before we move forward.
And so that conversation with her was really pretty simple.
Yes.
There's like I don't know, pretty minimal amount of concerns from my end.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like she was just on board, but like, like the church was allowed to ask questions like, how long have you been a Christian? Do you believe in Jesus Christ as the salvation of sin? It's like, it's just a few of those doctrinal questions I think are important.
Have you already been baptized? You know what I mean? Like things like that. Yeah.
Those questions are actually much more relevant with one of our recent converts.
Good point. Yeah.
Because we kind of brought him into the church, and there were some people who were like, "Hey, are you a Christian?
Do you proclaim the name of Christ?" Yeah, yeah. Like,
are you holding to the faith in Christ for salvation? Yes was the answer before he joined. Like, he did hold to a historical understanding or an orthodox understanding of Christ, but he's also very new into Christianity at large.
Taking in a lot, trying to learn a lot. Yeah.
Yes, and so there was a concern on his end actually that I thought was wise beyond his years, where he was like, "I'm concerned about the expectations on me. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to meet them." And he said, like, "I see the way that you guys talk about the scriptures. I see the way that you guys push each other.
Yeah.
I see what you have to offer in the table, and I don't really have that."
Yes.
And we're like, "Yeah, that's a fair concern. We are the expectations are very different. You just came into the faith. We're going to start with I don't know, how was the Bible formed?"
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the personal flexibility that we have, and the practical flexibility too that we have when we bring people in and we kind of ask these questions, we have these conversations. It's not the same process every single time. It's why we also don't have a standardized process for our church specifically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we want to meet people where they're at to make it as smooth as possible.
Now, the other thing too is a lot of the members that we've had join in the time that we've been a church have already known people in the church.
Been around us for a little while.
Their family, their friends, they get to know us. Like, they go out for a little bit. We've had this kind of thing that we say, like, people are kind of orbiting.
Yeah.
They're in our orbit. the production team uses that, so that makes them a nerd. And so what that means is like they're meeting for coffee. They know a few of us. They're kind of in and out of the social circle. You know, they're in that sort of sphere.
Yeah.
But they're not committed all the way. And some people spend a lot of time there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before they're just like, all right, I'm gonna join.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm ready to make that commitment. We've been dating for a while, and I think it's
it's time we define this relationship.
Yeah. That's not actually what happens, but I mean, like, it is kind of that that thing of like, is this gonna work? And then you start to think about it, you talk about it, and you're like, I want to make this work.
Yeah.
We had somebody else join. He's just been in and around our lives for like a year and a half consistently. And then before that, I mean, I've known him for 15 years.
Long time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But even I had known him for 4 or 5 years at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like he was just in and around, and then he just sat down and he's like, all right, I'm just going to do it. And we had concerns about that as a church. We said, are you making a rash decision?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a sort of reflexive change to a life change? Like, are you swinging from one side to the other? Is this impulsive, or do you really mean this?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we sat him down, we had questions like, okay, what do you think about Christianity? How is this going to work with, like, your family and your emotional attachments, or, you know, anything like that, like your current life right now?
Correct, yeah.
How do you imagine this going?
Mm-hmm.
And that conversation was productive because everything was out in the open.
Yeah.
And a lot of the rules about how to make relationships work, like a lot of that general tips, like that's how you make a church work, because church is relationship.
You do it the same way, yeah.
It's like openness, honesty, vulnerability, empathy, listening skills. Like, it's not rocket science. And coming out from the outset, that just sets everybody else up for success.
100%, yeah.
Now, I think it's important to talk about our particular church, and a lot of churches, honestly, already start with a core group of people
who have been worshiping together for a while, yeah, who have been committed to one another, and whether it's learning, studying the Bible together, or worshiping or praising God, you know what I mean? They have that time spent, and also that closeness kind of already starting to build, you know what I mean?
Right, because that's how we started. We started as a Bible study. We're like, okay, you know what? I need to know more about God.
Yeah.
I need to know more about the Bible. I need to know more about faith.
Yeah.
Let's study together. And then we studied together, we worshiped together, and the more we did that, we're like, okay, let's do that after church so that we can kind of get refilled in the spirit, you know, and like all that. And before we knew it, it was like, let's do this instead of going to an institutionalized church. Like, let's just feel that out.
Yep.
And then we were like, okay, let's like really define what church is based on what we see in the text. And then we were like, okay, is there anybody else doing this? Because like we can't be the only ones
who have come to this conclusion
in 2,000 years.
Correct.
And then like we did a little bit of research. I listened to like one podcast on the Remnant Radio where they mentioned house church, and I just felt like a light bulb.
You're like, this is it.
Went off, and I was like, yes, that's what I need. Like, I need somebody else to tell me that I'm not insane.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, am I insane for thinking that like this group of people is my church? Because like that happens. Like we had a night of prayer, and like I just looked around and I remember thinking like, dude, like these people are my church.
Yeah.
Like this is the church.
Mm-hmm.
These people know me inside and out. Like we pray together, we live together. Like we're just committed to the Lord and each other.
Yeah.
Like this is the church.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, okay, like let's define that relationship.
Yeah.
Let's
beautiful thing.
it. And it was, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it. I'm just kidding. I'm not. My throat was.
He's gonna start crying now.
It's just, I just love you guys so much. um, no, I do love you, but that's not it. I did have something in my throat.
All right.
I wanted to say a lot of churches start out with that core group who are a church.
That is correct. Yeah.
They act as a church. They would call each other like their quote unquote church.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kind of start meeting.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, sometimes there is like an external shakeup. Like some churches, there's like I don't know, like a moral failing, and then the pastor just changes, or like the church just sort of flips what it's doing. Things shake up.
Correct.
You move to a new city, like whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes that external force is there, and sometimes it's just this natural progression of like what really makes the difference in our faith, and what do we really feel like we need to fulfill the Great Commission and to do the work of the Lord and to be the people of God. Let's emphasize that.
Yeah. I have a question for you real quick. If you don't have a church nearby or a house church functioning, what would you try to do? Or would you try to start one right away? How would you go about that? Even if there's one nearby, let's say, and it's bad, what would your process be?
If there's one nearby and it's bad.
Yeah, let's start with that.
Okay, so I moved to a new city. And so our general recommendation, I don't think we've said this on this take.
We'll say it, though.
General recommendation would be, if you're thinking about starting a house church, join a house church.
Correct.
Like I think the impulse to just start a house church happens way too quickly and frequently.
Agreed.
And it's because the people who I think are drawn to house church naturally tend to be the sort of intense, I'm going to do what I feel is right.
Yeah.
And I am the leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to start like a new move of God. And it's all done out of the right heart. And I'm saying that's cool. I'm telling you, spending a season in tempering and developing, even if you think you're a seasoned Christian, just join a house church for a while.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Agreed.
So if I'm in a new city and there's a house church nearby and it's bad, I'm going to go anyway.
Okay.
Because one, I'm just going to say what I think.
Yeah.
Like if there's something I don't like, I'm going to give them a chance. I'm going to say I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say why. And if they can convince me, awesome. If I can convince them, fantastic. There's hope for reconciliation even in the midst of sin. Like that's
Great.
the whole hope of the gospel, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to preach too much. If it's bad and I go and I say, "Hey guys, it seems weird." And let's give me the benefit of the doubt here. I've done it perfectly.
Yeah.
With all gentleness, empathy, and respect. All right, for the sake of argument. And they still they won't listen. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take this as a lesson, and then I'm probably out.
Yeah.
I'm
at that point, yeah. Okay.
So after that point, how do I go about getting people for a house church? Unfortunately, it has to happen organically and relationally.
Yeah, like we kind of talked about already a little bit, yeah.
And so I'm going to start meeting people. If they go to an institutionalized church, I am not going to start going to their institutionalized church with intention to poach members from the institutionalized church.
That's a very good clarification. Yeah.
Actually, so thinking about it, if I am abandoning a little bit of my own morality and ethical code here, the easiest way to join a house church the easiest way to start a house church is to go to a very large multi-site mega church.
Okay.
Join their life group, their small group program, their training program, become a leader in that program. And then once you have a mature small group, just start planting seeds of this is the church. Blah, blah, blah. And you just little seeds here. 2 years, and then boom, you got a house church. 10 families that are committed to each other.
And this, just to clarify, he did say if he was abandoning his moral and ethical code here, that we're not saying this is the idea.
I'm just saying it would be easy and convenient. That's all. What could go wrong? I mean, what's the big deal here?
But
it seemed expedient. I'm sorry.
But I think it is a good clarification. That is...
That's what I would not do. What I would actually do is I'd probably just start a Bible study with people I meet.
Yeah.
Like there's a big temptation in 2025 to live your life not engaged into the community.
Yeah.
That's not really me.
Mm-hmm.
I try to live intentionally. I like go to local things. I meet local people. I do stuff. Like if somebody's at the same coffee shop all the time, like I'm probably going to get to know them.
Yeah.
It's not a coffee. It's a gym. All right. Let's just say it. It's a gym.
Sue me.
If somebody's at the gym, I'm going to get to know them.
Yeah.
And then, once you kind of learn a little bit about them and their lives, you start a Bible study.
For sure.
And then after the Bible study becomes consistent and you start to get more intertwined in living, then you can have that conversation about church and what is church.
Absolutely.
And what should the church do or be. I would probably say I would need about 5 or 6 adults.
Before you consider yourself a church?
Yeah. I don't know why I have that number. I'm not saying like God is not there. Like when two or more are gathered, like
yeah,
I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm just saying before, like I would say it's a formal house church. Like, do you want to join my house church? Because I think what it actually is I feel like it's kind of deceptive in a way because of just the general expectations that people have. When you're like, hey, do you want to join my house church? And then like you show up to their home and it's like them and their wife.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is the church. And you're like, oh, this is not what I was anticipating. And then they look at you and they go, where 2 or more are gathered, I am there. This is the church. And you're like, oh, okay.
All right.
We didn't set expectations well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if that happens, I think the way around it is setting positive expectations. Openness, honesty, vulnerability, empathy, listening skills. Like it's relationship. Do the things that make relationship work, and it's gonna work.
You've hit on them already. Oh man, I cannot talk. But yeah, that's a good point. And it's the commitment to the people. Like all those things that you're talking about the relational aspect, are the commitment to the people.
Yes, and it's going to also take time.
Yeah.
But again, I think your first impulse, if you're thinking about starting or joining, like should be to just join and just to listen and to learn and to be a part of something. Yeah. I think there is far more capacity within the house church scene for larger house churches.
Yeah.
Some of the research that I've read concerning early human groups, or maybe uncivilized human groups is probably a better way of saying that. Suggests that like the social structure thrives between 30 and 60 people.
Okay.
Getting a note from production team that I'm right.
If you're wondering what it actually says, it says the production team called him a nerd again.
And so that's including parents, grandparents, children.
Multi-generational. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so like you've got these like family clusters that tend to excel between 30 and 60. I don't really see why that rule wouldn't apply to the house church.
Similar. Okay. Yeah.
I like if I'm thinking about our house church, we could really use some multi-generational stuff going on. So if I talk to you about that, you know who you are. We'd love you to join.
Sorry. Go ahead.
But like I'm thinking about that, like if we get a few unnamed individuals into the church and then we start having kids and these unnamed individuals start nannying for those kids, then like where we're at with 20-ish young adults, like we could probably take on 3 or 4 more and then just fill it out multi-generationally
with kids and
it's like we are there.
We are.
And that doesn't mean like we can't split. We probably could. Throughout the course of our church, like we're pushing towards maturity. Like we have a few people that we could raise up as overseers and say like, okay, I guess you can do your own thing. But like if there's not a reason,
if there's no need to, yeah, Reason or call. That's a good
A
point.
reason or call, like, let's just not do that.
Yeah.
Now when we split too, that doesn't mean like you can't do big combined things.
Everybody come back together. Yeah, absolutely.
There's some evidence in the New Testament that they did rent out like large city buildings and like
Spaces
have like their big preaching or teaching and time of worship as like a combination of church communities. And like I think there's still a place for that, but I'm also saying like do not underestimate the scope of human connection when you're talking about a house church. Like if you get into a space and you're like, wow, you already have 20 people, where am I going to fit in? I don't know, maybe with a little bit of honesty, openness, vulnerability. We can make it work.
We can.
You know, it's relational, and treating it as relational is how you succeed.
Yep.
Treating it as a formulaic cooking process, I think, it's more labor than it has to be.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. Did I miss anything from the production team?
I don't think so. From everything that I can see, I think we hit on
Did you notice how I said production team and Collin answered? He is part of the production team.
I am part of the production team. I do have original thoughts too, just to clarify.
Just to put that out there. As our concluding thought, Collin has his own ideas.
See, what was funny is I was going to wrap this up by saying I do think we hit on all the nerves and confusion that people might possibly have on joining or starting their own house church, which is kind of how we started. We are getting another note, though.
It says visiting gatherings. That's a good point, too, like, because there is, like, a visitation process. Sometimes we have closed gatherings, and sometimes we have open gatherings. There's some churches that are really antsy about that.
Yes.
Okay, not antsy. They're very firm.
Very firm and very, very organized and clear of, like, this is the time for you to come and not.
And just like our onboarding process, we are not.
We are not very clear. No.
At some point that we say, like, we need to prioritize time for the church and with the church.
We do say that, yeah. And we've had those conversations when we need to have them with those people that are looking to join the church. And we were very upfront about it.
You've been here for a while. This is cool, but we need to define the relationship. Like, you need to have that conversation. And we're going to keep our space as our space. This is not just somewhere where you can come and hang out and watch forever.
Correct.
Indefinitely.
Correct.
But the house church structure, and we've talked about this on podcasts, we have articles, like it is one that demands participation.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you are there watching and saying, okay, I'm just watching indefinitely, that's when it becomes not a relationship that goes bi-directional.
Correct.
Am I allowed to use that word? She gave me a thumbs up. That's when it becomes that sort of I can take in but I don't push out. There's no accountability to the people there. That's not church. That's
yeah.
I don't know. It's consumeristic. And I know that's like the big buzzword. That's our problem with the institutionalized church, but there you can have it too. The consumeristic culture can invade the house church. Turns out it's not just a heart issue.
Absolutely.
Or it's not like particular to the institutionalized church, I guess we'll say. I don't want to get into that too much. We've got other podcasts and articles.
Plenty of opportunity to go into it more if we want to. Absolutely. Yeah.
But visiting gatherings is I think allowed in every church that I know of.
Everyone that we've talked to so far, yeah.
And we allow it to up to a certain point. We don't really put a hard deadline on that. Normally we have the define the relationship conversation, I don't know, probably a month or two in. Ish,
yeah. Once again, it's just dependent on our relationship with the person. So
yeah, because one of our recent guys, he came to 2 gatherings, and then like we were sitting after gathering, he's like, I want to join. And I kind of looked at him like, okay, that's there's some things to talk about first. But yeah, I mean, it happens.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that's all that we have for you guys on.
If we missed something, comment on the comment section down below. Go ahead, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to get all the updates on the White House Church scene. Visit the website, contact us, engage with our content. Even if you disagree, drive that algorithm up. I'll say more inflammatory things because that's what the algorithm likes now. Am I allowed to do that? Production team says yes.
No.
She's not on camera.
No.
We'll see you next time on the White House Church podcast.